friends, it's Sarah. I'm here in my real food kitchen, continuing on with the series on eggs. And today I'm going to cook an omelet for you. But before I start talking about omelets and demonstrating things, in a couple of videos ago I mentioned that the way to know whether your eggs are fresh or not, if you buy them from the grocery store. Currently I'm buying mine from the farmer's market, so those people gathered those eggs like that morning or the day before. So short of having your own chickens, that's as fresh as you're going to get. But in the grocery store, eggs are packed in cartons, and I mentioned that they have a pack date on them. And many people have said since, where's the pack date? I haven't found it. So right here, you see this number there, right there, 158. The pack date corresponds to the actual, the digits correspond to the days that have passed in the year. So 158 means that they were packed. I mean, today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everybody. June 18th. So they were packed 11 days ago. That's a very fresh egg. I mentioned that the grocery store can sell you eggs that are as old as 6 months old because they are, technically, they're still safe and fresh to eat. And most recently, I went to a discount grocery store. I won't say the name of it, but I bought some eggs that they were selling as organic, which I'm sure that they were. But I looked at the pack date just as I was about to head to the cashier, and they were packed in October of 2016, and it is currently June of 2017. So I put those back. So they're not doing anything wrong, they're safe to eat, but they're not as fresh as I like to have my food. So pay attention to that now that you know about it. So without further ado, we are going to scramble some eggs. So to scramble an egg, you need just a few things. Oh, I'm sorry. We are making an omelet. So to make an omelet, you do actually need an omelet pan. And this is an omelet pan. It's a shallow pan with sloped sides. And this is an 8-inch omelet pan. That's my omelet pan of choice. A 9.5 is probably as big as an omelet pan is going to get, and then it starts moving into the category of a saute pan. So you need this pan, you need a spatula like this, a whisk, and some eggs. Now let's talk about filling. So if you're going to fill your omelets with anything, keep the filling fairly spare. And I should say we're talking about omelets in the traditional French style. We're not talking about a Western omelet. A Western omelet, which is sort of our way of saying an American style omelet, is like filled like a giant burrito, is often folded over on one side because you can't roll it in the traditional sense, it'll break from the stress of how much filling's in there. And then they're often, to my point of view, horrifically overcooked, like they're brown and kind of dry and hard. I can't eat that. I can't, if you said you can eat this or not eat at all today, I would say, I will not eat all today, thank you. So let's, first of all, we're going to whisk up the eggs. Oh, but what I wanted to say about the filling was have all of your fillings cooked already and ready to go. And if you're going to put any cheese in your omelet, and today I'm going to put Neufchâtel, which is basically the French version of cream cheese, have any of your fillings ready to go, and the cheese should be at room temperature. That gives you a leg up when it's time to fold the omelet and hope that everything kind of melds and melts in there. If it's cold from the fridge, there's no way that there's enough heat in the omelet to melt that cheese by the time you're going to eat it. So start with your cheese at room temp. All right, so let's whisk the eggs. And you need to whisk them thoroughly, you know, so that the yolk and the white are not separate from each other. All right, so that's good enough. So that was probably about 30 seconds worth of whisking. All right, so I will join you over at the stovetop and show you the rest of the procedure. So we're here at the stove. I've got the omelet pan on, I would call it medium low, and I have generously coated it with butter. You need a fair bit of fat in the pan to be able to achieve the kind of seamless rolling out of the pan that we want. But that butter is ready. And so I traditionally make a 3-egg omelet, which I think is common. And I'm going to let the eggs just sit in the pan for a little bit until I can see that they're starting to cook along the edges. I've got all of my ingredients lined up over here ready to go. And you have to be patient when you're cooking eggs. If you get impatient, you're going to want to turn the heat up, and then you're going to overcook your eggs. And so I'm just starting to push from the outside, and I'm pushing the cooked part into the middle. See that right there? And I'm going to let that happen again. It's going to start happening faster now. And there, that's about as much as we can push it out. And so at that stage, I'm taking off the heat because I'm talking to you. I'm going to start putting my fillings in. These are scallions, which I sauteed in advance. I don't like raw onions, so I cooked them up in advance. That's asparagus, a little bit of basil from my garden, and then some of the Neufchâtel cheese. I'm just going to put that in like this. And that is ready. I don't think it needs to go back on the heat at all. Let's roll it onto a plate. And so what you want to do is you want to bring it down to the edge of the plate, of the pan. Scoot it all the way down to the edge like that. And then just use your spatula to coax it off. And then normally I would use my fingers to do this part, but I'm trying to be I'm trying to be professional and not, but I like to, all right, I'm just going to do it. I like to kind of tuck the edges in so that it's perfect. And then I'm going to take a rag, because I'm fussy about presentation, that little bit of cream cheese on the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and top it with a little bit of basil. And if you watched my previous video, I mentioned that I don't like to season eggs while they're cooking because I think it makes the eggs separate. So I put a little salt, pepper, and basil on the top, and that is finished. All right, so here we have our very nicely cooked omelet. If you can see, there is absolutely no brown on it. And we just cut into it. And that is how I like my omelets. Maybe a little bit runny for you, but if you can see the inside, it's fully cooked. And I would say part of that is simply cheese. But that to me is a perfectly cooked omelet. If that bothers you, that there's that little bit of runniness, first of all I say give it a try if you're not used to your eggs that runny. But if that's too runny for you, leave it rolled up in that, in its original form, and just let it sit there for a minute. It will continue to cook, and all that runniness will be gone by the time you eat your omelet. So here we have our perfectly cooked omelet, which I'm going to taste. I can't resist. Mmm. Mmm. So yummy. That's a really good combo. That asparagus, the cream cheese, the little bit of scallion and basil. Yum. And right now it's June in Minnesota. We have both strawberries and asparagus in season. I highly recommend it. Enjoy.